Hello and welcome to our new video series on hypothesis testing. This is where it's all going to come together for pretty much everything we've done so far this semester, saving the best for last. Well, technically speaking, in this class, I believe correlation comes last, but that's kind of an afterthought to this. This is really the crux of the matter for most of the things we've done this semester. So we have a 4-bit series on this. We got the series I'm putting up right now dealing with hypothesis testing as a concept, some of the main tools, main vocabulary, main ideas that will go up in this immediate series that I'm posting today. And then going forward, we will, in the same way we did it for the previous chapter on estimating population parameters, we'll talk about hypothesis testing specifically for proportions. And then we'll do it specifically for means. And then we'll do it specifically for variance/standard deviation. But for now, we need to worry about just the concepts of hypothesis testing. This particular video series is going to be pretty involved. This is probably the longest video series I'm going to make for this course. At least I hope so, because this one has crushed me to make. It's going to be pretty involved. You might come back to this several times as you're working through not just 8.1, but also for the rest of the chapter, because all the concepts that you'll use for the rest of the chapter, we will talk in depth here in this series. So before we get into that, though, let's just take a second and take stock of how far we have come in this course. So the first unit we really dealt with was characteristics of a set of numbers. That was all we really worried about at the very start of the course. We talked about measures of center, which was mean, median, mode. We talked about measures of dispersion, which was standard deviation, variance. We looked at how to calculate those by hand. We looked at how to calculate those using tools. We also did measures of relative standing, percentiles, quartiles, that sort of thing. We looked at all of that, and that was what we contended with at the start of the course. But after that, we started asking bigger and bigger questions. And I'm being rather poetic about it. The questions we got increased in magnitude and scope. Because as soon as we knew how to deal with a single data set, the question became, well, let's say I don't have a data set, but I do understand what the whole population is doing. What can I say about an individual or about a sample? And so that was getting into chapter 5, chapter 6 stuff. We started getting into binomial distributions. We started doing normal distributions. For individuals, we had our z-scores. We had the adjusted z-scores for samples. That was the central limit theorem. And we also started broaching the idea of being significantly rare, either being significantly high or significantly low. And that was either being 2 standard deviations removed or having a cumulative probability of less than 5%. So that was that was the more recent unit where we looked at normal distributions mostly. And that was all on the operated assumption that you knew what the population was doing. Well, then the question gets asked, well, what if I don't know what the population is doing and I want to know that? How can I use a sample to determine what the population is doing? So that was what we've been doing most recently. The first part of this unit, estimating population parameters, be it proportions, means, or variances, or standard deviations, take the square root. That was what we were looking at most recently, taking a single sample and getting that population. Now we're going to take it one step further. What should I look for in a sample that I haven't even taken yet in order to determine how my population is behaving? What should I look for? What's going to back up what I think? What's going to support my claims? What's going to strike down my claims? That sort of thing. I'll talk about that in the next video. We will talk about this in the next several videos. This is a very important concept, and it's heavily rooted in hypothesis testing.